to talk a little bit about the power of a personal mission statement. Some of us have used it, a mission statement in our business and found it very, very helpful. And maybe you haven't been in a business environment and this seems strange, maybe too confining to you. And I want to look at it through the lens of providing you freedom, not constraint. When you get clear on your calling, it gives you the freedom to say no, what I might call a smiling no, to a lot of good things, so you can say yes to the best. And over the years, I've found that a great mission statement has three components: what you're best at, what you care the most about, and the difference you most want to make in this world. Now think for a minute. If you had a single sentence that included those three things, what you're really gifted at, and in the Bible, in 1 Peter, it says, each of us, you were given certain strengths, be sure to use them. What you care the most about, those things God's put on your heart that are not just concerns, they're deep burdens. They're things that keep you up at night, things that make you mad, sad, or glad. And then the difference you want to see from your life. Imagine having a sentence like that that would enable you to create filters. So you could say no to things that are good, that are going to, but not great, things that would make you sloppy busy. So my mission statement is to be a thought leader, mobilizing high-capacity business leaders to make a lasting kingdom impact. Now, there are three pieces to that: what I'm good at, and remember, strengths are for service, not status. I'm a thought leader. I'm a good thought leader. My strengths in the Strength Finder are strategist, futurist, activator, belief, and focus. That means I'm a good thought leader. But it's so freeing to know that your strengths are for service, not status. Because if you believe that strengths are for status, then you won't be comfortable sharing them. But once you realize that they're a gift and they're for service, then you bring them boldly, openly, freely. So I'm a thought leader. That's the first thing. I'm passionate about helping high-capacity leaders that run the risk of squandering their life instead of living into the joy of following God and living sacrificially. And what I really want most is to see them advance God's agenda. I'm not that motivated to help people live just a slightly more fulfilling life. So when Linda and I were going on this journey and working through this, I remember Linda saying to me, well, I just get up every day and I just do whatever the Lord puts on my heart. I just serve the people that come my way. Well, that was working great until about 15 or 17 years ago, she started having panic and anxiety attacks. And she talks freely about that today. Because she didn't have a good, clear statement of her purpose, she didn't have a firm yes, she didn't have a firm or solid no. And so she was playing in the band at church, she was leading small groups, she was showing up in the kids' school every day. And she had so many things going that she just was running herself ragged. And so over time, she discovered that her purpose is to mentor young moms, building strong marriages and Christian families. Out of that came her ministry, momsmentoring.com. And out of that has come the freedom to say no to many, many things that are good, but not the best. So here's my suggestion to you is, if you feel like that seems corporate-y, if you feel like a mission statement would be too constraining, if maybe it makes you feel afraid that if you wrote down what your purpose is, that you might fail at it, I encourage you to move past those limitations and just start. Now, when you're a real estate developer, you start working with an architect on a new project, and most often they start with a sketch. And I remember as a young real estate developer, our architect started sketching a building, and I started critiquing it right away. And he looked me in the eyes and he said, Lloyd, this is a sketch. I'm going to do a bunch of sketches. Don't overreact. It's just a sketch. And after we looked at several sketches, then we went on to build plans, and then we took the plans to the city. When you start writing a personal mission statement, think of it as just a sketch. It's a first try at it. Now, there's three different ways you can get at it. Number one, you could work through a simple equation. My calling is to use my strengths of blank and blank in order to impact this and this, whatever the cause is you feel most drawn to, in order that blank, what are your desired results? This simple equation. I want to use my strengths to address these issues in order to see these desired results happen. Another way to get at it is take some time by yourself in your favorite location with a blank piece of paper and draw a picture of what you would love to spend the rest of your life doing if you've already cared for your own family. In other words, beyond the time it takes to care for your own immediate family. Don't be constrained by words, but just simply draw a picture of, and I've seen amazing pictures come out of that and a lot of clarity. I remember Dale Dawson did that 20 years ago, and he drew a picture of the US, a picture of Africa, and a bridge between them. And he decided he wanted to build a bridge between the affluent people in the US and those that are the poorest of the poor in Africa, and transform the lives of both people on both sides of the bridge. And he's done that. It's called Bridge to Rwanda, and it's changed thousands of people's lives on both sides of the bridge. It came out of the freedom to draw a picture. Another way to get at it, and maybe you'll try all three of these, is to start writing with no constraints and just write what I'd love to spend the rest of my life doing, and just let your heart flow. No critique. And write for 5 or 10 minutes. I remember Tomas Brunegard from Sweden came and sat here at this same desk 15 years ago. And I asked him, he was the CEO of the largest daily newspaper chain in Sweden. And he was the president of the World Association of Newspapers, 2 big influential roles. And I said to him, Tomas, I want you just to sit here. I'm going to go get a coffee, and I want you to just write out your dream. Suppose you're on the back of your boat and your 5 closest friends are sitting around you, and you get to tell them. They ask you, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Just write it all out. And so he did. And I made a note to send it back to him 10 years later. So I sent him that note 10 years later, and he told me it moved him to tears because it's exactly what he's doing today. And all he needed was his time and the freedom to just put his heart out on paper. So once you get clear on it, you'll be wondering, well, this is a first sketch. How do you gain clarity? Well, you test it. You start looking for opportunities, and you do a little bit. You do a low-cost probe. That means a commitment that's deep enough to be able to test it out and really experience it without disrupting your life. And you ask yourself, how will I measure the results? One of the best ways to clarify your mission statement is to ask yourself, how will you measure the results? And then ultimately, your mission statement boils down into filter questions. So my mission statement is to be a thought leader, mobilizing high-capacity business leaders to make a lasting kingdom impact. There are 3 filter questions that I ask when I decide to say yes or no. The first is this a high-capacity leader? It's yes or no. I don't always get it right, but it's a great filter question. Secondly, do they lack clarity? You don't need a thought leader if a person has a clear plan. But if they lack clarity, I can help them. And thirdly, do they want to make a lasting kingdom impact, or do they just want to put a little more meaning and purpose into their life so they feel better about themselves, so they feel less guilty about their wealth? I'm looking for people who are high capacity. In other words, the Lord has gifted them in a way that could change things in the world, that has a lack of clarity, and who want to make a lasting kingdom impact. That's a good way for me to filter out great opportunities from just the good ones. So my encouragement to you is take time, move past your fears, write out a personal mission statement that includes what you're best at, what you care about, the difference you want to make in the world, and share it with a few people you love and trust to get their feedback and build on it from there. You test your way into clarity. You start with what you know and work towards what you don't